Welcome back to Scary Urban Legends here. I'm your host Andrew, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 Nepal scary urban legends. What country should we do next? We love the suggestions, so keep leaving them down in the comment section below. Let's get started. At number 10 spot, we have the water tank of Dapashi. Located in Dapashi, Basundara, I am so sorry if I mispronounced that, lies this innocent looking underground tank to store water around the community. Although this is necessary for any community and serves as a benefit, many locals are actually too afraid to go anywhere near it. Of course, this doesn't mean that they couldn't get their water due to fear. Instead, they would probably just ask someone else to get it for them. But what could stop people from getting a basic necessity like water? It all started with the sounds of crying, shouting, and other strange noises coming from inside of the tank. And it was said that the sounds grew even louder by the nighttime. This is also the time where locals claim that they also see the spirit of a decomposing man standing nearby the tank. Legends say that a group of robbers mugged a man near this water tank, and instead of a quick theft, one of the men accidentally killed the man, so they thought that they could put the body inside of this tank and they locked it. But instead, hours later, they would hear the man struggling for his life inside of the water tank. Soon after, the man would pass and the robbers would get caught. But imagine drinking from this water tank after this incident. Doesn't this kind of remind you of Cecil Hotel a bit? Anyone? At number 9 spot, we have Raniban. Many people know Raniban for their breathtaking views and incredible sceneries, but inside of this nature escape is hidden something dark. Within the jungle of Raniban village, there's this gigantic tree looking straight out of a cartoon with its wide spread and exposing roots. Except take away the beauty from this tree and you'll understand why every local avoids this. Warning, the story is pretty explicit, so viewer discretion is advised. Legend goes that several years ago, a man assaulted and murdered a girl right underneath this tree. After some research, this turned out to be a true story and has a lot more disturbing details that I couldn't mention on this video. However, after her death, people in the area started to hear noticeable crying coming from underneath the tree, but when they went to investigate, nothing was there. And to make things even more spookier, just days after this, the man who murdered the girl was executed by hanging on the same tree. So best believe there's more than one ghost sitting underneath it. At number 8 spot, we have the ghosts of Mount Everest. Being the tallest mountain in the world, people are bound to come in thousands to conquer the challenge. However, with a fatality rate at 14%, many climbers have not been able to finish their trip and their bodies still lie on this mountain to this day. So best believe after seeing these bodies and hearing their horrific stories, some ghost stories in Everest are bound to pop up. On your journey to the top, chances are you'll come across the 3,000 corpses that lie on the mountain to this day. One is a man known as Green Boots, as seen on the body at the time of his death, but his real name is Swang Baljor. Many climbers claim to see the apparition of this climber with green boots encourage them to push through the journey. Being at such an extreme height, many mountaineers suffer from altitude sickness and causes many to see vivid hallucinations, with the majority of them claiming to see ghosts all around them, and I'm not surprised. At number 7 spot, we have the Royal Palace of Nepal. On June 1st, 2001, one of the worst royal massacres occurred at the Royal Palace of Nepal. The deaths included 9 members of the royal family, including King Birendra and Queen Aishwarya. The culprit turned out to be the son and crown prince, Dipendra, who is said to have opened fire on the palace grounds when a party was happening. He shot his own dad, his own mother, and his own siblings. And since we're talking about a monarchy, and also because he killed all other lines of succession, he was appointed king, but only for a temporary time as he was in a coma since the attack due to shooting himself. Shortly after the massacre, locals around the palace begin to hear sounds of screaming, shouting, and the most notorious sound they would document is the sound of gunshots. They claim it was the gunshots from the massacre, and its haunting sounds are still trapped in the palace to this day. At number 6 spot, with the Lakey dance. To educate y'all in Nepal culture, one of their infamous traditions is this Lakey dance. This is considered the dance of a demon, and although the name is pretty daunting, the reason they do this is not. So Laki is a term they use to denote carnivorous demons, so the story goes that Laki fell in love with a Nepalese girl. So in an attempt to win her heart, the demon decides to take human form to see his lover, but when he decides to enter the city, everyone decides to capture him, well, because he is a demon. So the king meets with his demon and makes a pretty generous offer. He proposes that he gives the demon a place in the city only if he promises to protect the children from tragedies and other supernatural entities. So the demon agreed, hence the dance. The costumes they use are both beautiful and pretty terrifying, depending on how you want to look at it. And one odd thing about this tradition dance, opposed to other traditional dances, is that this dance is not taught, but it's said that the dancers have it inherited through their genes. This also causes many others to believe that the demon is in fact controlling them, but in the end of the day, he means well, so it's okay. Right in the hump of our list, we have Devghat. Devghat is a religious Hindu site located in Chichwan, also known as Aryaghat. On July 12, 2009, police discovered several human skulls and bones scattered all around the area. The case remains unsolved to this day. Well, it's because the grounds were formerly used for cremation. Groups like the Agoris and Tantrics come here to do some questionable rituals as well, which only adds to the local belief that this place is truly haunted. Specifically, locals claim to see around 4 to 5 women apparitions approaching the river by night. They appear to be dancing, but they're floating above the ground. The craziest thing about this is that they only start this dance by lighting themselves on fire, and only when they are completely engulfed in flames is when they'll begin their dance. And people claim to see their dance daily. At number 4 spot, we have Mughling and Naryangat. If you want to take a hike in Nepal, this place is definitely a must with their stunning waterfalls and untouched nature. Except despite this beauty, locals warn tourists to not travel down the roads nearby at night. This is because many have reported hitchhiking ghosts who disappear shortly after being picked up. As well, they also claim to see apparitions running in front of their car, which only causes a lot more accidents in the area. Police have already discovered several human bodies in the area, with many of the cases still unresolved. This led many to believe in the supernatural, but many others propose a serial killer in the area, and it would make sense. But 2 theories, 2 bad options. In the past, the towns around the highway were just deserted fishing regions, which was a dangerous place for crime and violence. The spirits found on the highway were said to be tortured souls whose remains might lie unattended in the woods still. At number 3 spot, we have the Kya. A Kya is translated into a ghostly figure, but ghosts in Nepal are seen as something different than we see in the Western world. In Nepal, it's widely believed that every house contains a Kya and their backstory. Like any ghost, these Kya can either be good or they can be bad. The good will obviously protect the family, the home, and your luck, but the bad ones will do everything in their power to destroy your family and ultimately every single one of your lives. You'll know if you've seen a Kya because they are pretty distinct. They appear as a slender skeleton, so in a way they act as a poltergeist because you can see them the whole time instead of them just being invisible like any other ghost. It's believed they like to pull pranks like throwing objects around the house and throwing blankets off of you, and in some cases they will try to scare the family so bad that they will choose to leave the house completely, leaving the Kya all alone in the house. Although you can see this ghost, the majority of people will never actually know if they have a Kya in their place, and only you'll know if you fetch it out and seek one. Maybe you'll have one, but who knows. At number 2 spot, with the Bokshi. Nepal legend says that witchcraft is widely practiced in remote areas of Nepal, except at this time their witch description was far from accurate. Basically, any woman who had something bad to say or raised her voice at the patriarchy would be considered a witch or a Bokshi. The problem with Bokshi is that it has become so extreme that women are being murdered in the name of this specific ritual and are forced to become a ghost where they will be lost and seen roaming around the streets looking for answers. Even to this day, people are getting accused of being witches. Am I being confused, or am I in the Salem witch trial still? Because why are people still believing in this stuff? Just for excuse to execute women. I will never get it, and good for girls for haunting the streets for this one, because this one is kind of reasonable in my opinion. At number 1 spot, we have the Sundarijal. Located nearby Kathmandu is a river that is nowhere near your regular rivers back at home. Back in the day up until now, the river has been mainly used as a source of drinking water, but the fact many locals claim that the river is haunted has led many people to avoid a necessity like water. The river runs through a rainforest which is said to have restless souls hidden inside of it. As well, many have said that even touching the river can lead to your doom. Witnesses have seen locals and visitors reaching the river's edge only to tumble over and drown shortly after, and for some statistics, at least one person loses their life in this very river every single year. Now, as the years go by, the body count begins to rise up, causing more and more restless spirits. It could almost be said that this river is the closest thing to nature's own human sacrifice. Well, these are the top 10 Nepal scary urban legends. What other country should we do? Leave a comment down below because we're gonna do it. We promise you guys. I'm your host Andrew, and I hope you guys have a scary day.